All right. What is up, YouTube? It is Flex Factor back with another live Yahoo Sports Best Ball draft. We are slotted with the 6th overall pick. So that means we start off with pick 6 and pick 15. Again, these first two rounds, shooting for high level running back talent. Depending on who falls to us, we might audible. Overall, looks like these are all new names to me. No one in here that I've played with yet. Here we go. I'm gonna have to lower this. Wow, that is very loud. We're gonna turn draft sounds off. First off the board is Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, the 1-1 going to Team Dem Boys. If we can grab this guy and this guy, I think that gives us the best chance of success. Unless Saquon falls to us. If Saquon falls to us, I'd like that as well. Well, we got guys jumping in and out of the draft room. So it goes Chase, Robinson, Gibbs, Barkley. There goes Barkley. And there goes Justin Jefferson. Our turn to draft. We are going to go Christian McCaffrey. You guessed it. Easiest strength of schedule for any running back on the year. He's been the 1-1 for the last 2 years in fantasy. Kind of blows my mind. You can get him outside of the top 5. Second pick, hopefully Devon A-Chain falls to us. Something tells me he probably won't, simply for the fact that I've seen people reach for him at around the 10th pick overall. Once they see Derrick Henry jump off the board, it's Genty and then him for running backs that are left, for high-end running backs. People are hesitant to take these receivers at the end of the first round, the beginning of the second. I think Neighbors is great. He's going to get so much volume this year, a lot of points just on receptions. So at the turn there, he goes Amon-Ra St. Brown and Ashton Genty. Interesting. I think we're going to have a little bit of regression this year in that Detroit offense. Brian Thomas Jr. at 12 comes off the board. Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, and Devon A-Chain. Top 3 remaining. We pick in 2 picks from now. Thing I like about these Yahoo drafts, Jonathan Taylor. Ooh, he reaches for Taylor. Taylor was slotted below Devon A-Chain, and Puka Nacua off the board. Neighbors is there. Oh, that's so tempting. So tempting. We go A-Chain. A-Chain comes off the board for us for the second round. I love Tyreek Hill in this third. I'm getting as much Tyreek Hill as I can this year. I think that he is a legitimate first round talent that has been falling in drafts. Does he play every game this year? Unlikely, but you saw last year he went for just under 1,000, missing a significant amount of time and having a quarterback travesty. Tua coming back healthy this year, I think, is big for that offense. Say what you want about Tua, that is a very complicated offense to run. Props to him. Hopefully, he gets a little bit more protection this year, plays a little bit smarter when it comes to avoiding taking unnecessary hits. Difficult in a contact sport, obviously, but I think they figure it out this year, get back to their 2023 ways where Tyreek and Jalen Waddle probably both go for over 1,200 yards. All right. Tyreek Hill is available. Kyron Williams is also available. T. Higgins, Jackson Smith, Najigba. To me, I mean, Tyreek Hill is a clear pick here. I don't know why it's even a question. Some of these guys aren't even the one on their team. T. Higgins, he's not the number one receiver on his team. I love Tyreek Hill there. Pick 4. If we can grab a Mike Evans, or if we can grab even one of these receivers, if they fall to us, that'd be great. Don't get me wrong, I still like T. Higgins. I just don't like taking him with my 3rd pick. If we go back and look at his stats, again, he was another guy who was under 1,000 receiving yards. Jackson Smith, the Jigba, broke that. Kittle, obviously at the tight end position, broke that. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin. There's not going to be many more. Zay Flowers, Cortland Sutton. So, I mean, you can get value down here. You got guys who've broken 1,000 yards that you can probably get much later into the draft. I think that's one of the benefits of taking 2 running backs early, is there's so much depth at wide receiver. People are going to be fighting for these running backs, and they're going to be fighting for them early. If you can get set up with 2 running backs in a solid wide receiver 1 after the first 3 rounds, I think you're in position for success. Looks like our pick 4, we might have an opportunity at Kittle. Nope, Kittle comes off the board, and so does Jackson Smith and Najigba. Do we go McLaurin? Do we go Garrett Wilson? I think we got to go receiver here. Or we could go Jaden Daniels. Let's give it a whirl. We'll go Garrett Wilson here. Justin Fields taking over at the quarterback position. Not sure how much I like that, but he's the 1-1 there. Devontae Adams leaving New York frees up a lot of targets for Garrett Wilson. Obviously, new quarterback in that offense. Maybe a new look to the offense entirely. 2024 Garrett Wilson over 100 targets. Yahoo estimates that he will have 15 less receptions. I think it's unlikely a receiver like Garrett Wilson, who had over 100 receptions, to have under when you take away Devontae Adams. Those targets have to go somewhere. We take a look at Devontae Adams last year. He had 85 targets. There are 85 targets up for grabs in that New York Jets offense. To think that Garrett Wilson is going to have anything short of 100 receptions is just blasphemy. Joe Burrow off the board. I think this is a super reach. Oops. I don't love this. I don't love this at all. Rookie running backs in fantasy football leave a sour taste in my mouth. I don't like Omarion Hampton this early. You're taking him to start in your lineup, 100%. Not something I'm in love with. I'm glad we stayed away from Devontae Adams. I am not too excited about him in that Rams offense. Puka Nacua is the cut and clear wide receiver 1 in that offense. Will there be weeks that Devontae Adams finds the end zone? Sure. Just not sold on it yet. If you tell me Devontae Adams or DK Metcalf, I probably like me some DK Metcalf. I do love Stafford. Devontae Adams it is. I just talked myself into it. An aging veteran Expert rank was 33. We got him at 47. So, I mean, we got him a round and a half after where he's been going. Let's take a look at ADPs here now. Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane. Definitely want to try and pick up some more wide receivers. We'll see who falls to us. Let's keep the expert rank up. Looks like Pickens could be in play. I don't love the Rashee Rice pick. Let's take a look at what we have for receiving yards for last year. Judy, Sutton, Zay Flowers. I think that could be a guy to look out for. Who found the end zone the most? Mark Andrews, interesting. Addison, someone I want to bookmark for later, as well as Jonnu Smith. Kelsey, most receptions, Wan'Dale Robinson. Again, late round flyers, I just want to have bookmarked. Pop back up here. If we can steal Jalen Waddle or Zay Flowers, which we're going to, this is fantastic. So getting another wide receiver 1 in an offense, never a bad thing. We get the wide receiver 1 in Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver 1 in Tyreek Hill, and the wide receiver 1 in Zay Flowers. Is this Baltimore team going to throw the ball a lot? Most likely no, but when you get a stacked box against Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, passing becomes a lot easier. All the more reason for Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah likely to find success. I'm not in love with DeAndre Hopkins in this Baltimore offense. I'm also not in love with Rashad Bateman, but for the right price, I think anyone is draftable. We look at his 2024 stats for the year. He had 74 receptions and just over 1,000 yards. Great work, young guy, speedy, no off-the-field issues. Seems like Lamar Jackson trusts him. He has breakaway speed. I love the pick there. Although I would still like to get some more wide receivers to fill out this depth chart because I think our running backs are pretty well set. If we get a running back that falls to us that makes sense, I don't hate DeAndre Swift. Let's put him on our to-do list. Roma Dunze off the board. Tet McMillan off the board. Carolina rookie receiver. All right, DeAndre Swift. He's available because Pacheco came off the board. And we're going to take him. Provides a chance to jump into our starting lineup at the running back slot on either of these bye weeks, but it also provides a chance to jump into the starting flex spot, given that any one of these guys can have an off week. Is Devontae Adams going to be super consistent this year? Probably not. But will he have the occasional 2-touchdown game? I think, yeah. You got a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford, a veteran wide receiver in Devontae Adams. I think they can make magic happen. Pop back over to the expert ranks, see where our next pick is going to shake out. Looks like Travis Hunter, Aaron Jones, Olave, Calvin Ridley off the board. 4 picks until our selection. Leads with receptions. We're going to go Kelsey here if he's available. If Travis Kelsey stays available, Baker Mayfield off the board. Travis Kelsey stays available, we're going to grab him. I think Kansas City has a bounce back year. The defense carried them to a lot of wins last year. It's time for the offense to pick up the slack. Hollywood Brown comes back for another year. Xavier Worthy, the rookie, comes back, obviously. He had nowhere to go, still on his rookie contract. Deebo Samuel comes off the board. Kind of crazy a guy like Deebo Samuel comes off the board before arguably the guy who's been the best tight end over the last 10 years of fantasy football. Is he aging? Sure. But, I mean, you look at his stats from last year, he missed 1 game. Just under 1,000, caught 100 balls. 100 balls, we're taking Travis Kelce. Our bye weeks, let's take a look at them. The only double dip that we have so far is the Miami team with Tyreek Hill and Devon Achane. Addison comes off the board a little early, in my opinion, for a guy that's on a 3-game suspension, but who am I to judge? We might want to fill out that quarterback position now, or we could wait until later in the draft and pick up a guy like Tua Tagovailoa or maybe a Matthew Stafford. Let's take a look at who's available for quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, definitely a guy that I would look to. Goff had 37 passing touchdowns last year. That's huge. Herbert, again, is going to throw for a bunch of yards. Sam Darnold threw for a bunch last year. I think he has some regression this year. Obviously, new offense, new receivers, new team. Could find it a little difficult in the beginning of the year. I'm not in love with that. Joe Mixon, we're going to throw in our queue. J.K. Dobbins comes off the board. Joe Mixon comes off the board. All right, we can live with that. 2 more picks until we are up. Looks like we'll probably have a chance at Godwin. I don't want to draft Godwin because of that injury. We're probably going to go with another receiver here. Travis Hunter. I'm not in love with this pick for a guy who's playing both sides of the ball. Tank Bigsby comes off the board. Let's take a look. Who has the most receptions? Remaining Wandale, yeah, no. Receiving yards, Jacoby Myers, yeah. We might go quarterback here. Jared Goff, welcome home, buddy. Goff, I think, is a solid pick here because of his weapons, right? You take a look at Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who round out that offense. Those are 2 guys that, just have to get the ball in their hands, and they can make magic happen. Jahmyr Gibbs, he almost threw for 40 touchdowns last year, a relatively low interception number when you look at the ratio from touchdowns to interceptions, threw for over 4,600 yards. Those are all things that I look for in a quarterback, is high touchdowns, high passing yards, not a lot of turnovers, right? Didn't fumble the ball at all last year. No rushing touchdowns, but that's understandable for a guy like Jared Goff, who has so many playmakers around him that can do that for him. Don't have to risk him getting injured. Might take a flyer on Herbert or Prescott later on in the draft. We're going to jump back to our wide receiver position. Now that we have every starting position filled out, going to look to add some more depth. Cooper Kupp still on the board. That is fantastic. Right now we are at pick 94, though. Let's take a look at projected points. Darnell Mooney's still there, huh? Cooper Kupp comes off the board. Let's look at all players. Expert rank. Wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, Ricky Pearsall, Khalil Shakir. Travis Etienne. I don't hate taking Travis Etienne here. Starting running back, I know Tank Bigsby went earlier on in the draft. Or I thought he did. Yeah, he went 85th. As far as I know, Etienne is still the starter. 500 rushing yards, 200 receiving yards last year. Only 2 touchdowns. Yahoo predicts an uptick in that. Not that we're going to have too much playing time from Etienne, but because we went back-to-back with running back and then filled our flex with a receiver, kind of wanted to even it out a little bit. We'll actually grab a couple more receivers here. Like I've been saying for the last 3 rounds, there just wasn't anything that I thought was worth reaching for. Rashid Shaheed could be one of those guys who steps up and takes a lot of the target this year with the new quarterback situation in New Orleans. Steph Diggs off the board, Cam Scatterboot off the board. Tucker Kraft off the board. That rookie wide receiver, Matthew Golden, comes off the board in Green Bay, shaping out to be their wide receiver 1. Demario Douglas, another guy I wanted to take a look at. 600 yards, only 3 touchdowns last year. I'm hearing great things coming out of training camp for him. Darnell Mooney, what's the questionable? So obviously Drake London is a wide receiver 1 in Atlanta. Raheem Morris was talking about a shoulder injury in regards to Darnell Mooney. Mooney, one of those boomer bust guys. I mean, he had 1,000 yards nearly in 2024. I like him here. 106 overall. I'm not completely sold. But if we look at projected points, I don't see how you pass on that. There's not many 1,000-yard receivers left on the board here. Next guy's Alec Pierce, who has a brand new tight end in that offense. The Atlanta Falcons don't. The Atlanta Falcons offense is virtually the same exact offense as it was last year. Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix still battling for that quarterback job. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson. I think that's a steal to get a guy who went for 1,000 yards this late in the draft. Pick 106. Steal. Did his ADP reflect it? Maybe not. I still think, regardless, that's a steal of a pick. Wide receivers. Let's see. Wide receivers remaining. Ray-Ray McCloud also in that Atlanta offense. Bob Douglas, a name we looked at earlier. Jalen Tolbert, speedster, went for 607 tutties last year. I don't love it, though, with the addition in free agency of George Pickens. Let's take a look at tight ends here. Jonnu Smith, ADP is 115, and we'll draft him at 115. 2 tight end attack there in Pittsburgh now with Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith commanded 88 receptions out of that Miami offense last year. Game script, were they playing behind? Probably. Do we think this Pittsburgh offense is going to be much better than that Miami offense was last year? Maybe a lot of growing pains with Aaron Rodgers dumping off to the tight end. Usually a safe throw to the tight end, a guy you can depend on, a veteran in Jonnu Smith. We'll grab one of these other guys probably later on in the draft. Looking to still build out some depth. Darnell Mooney is our first bench wide receiver, huh? Not too much left when we look at this draft pool. I think Keenan Allen could be a snag there. Let's just sort it by ADP. Josh Down. Oh my goodness. Diamond in the rough right there. Emeka Okbuka still on the board, and he just gets drafted. I don't know how that guy was still on the board. I think because I'm looking at 2024 stats. Brandon Ayuk still out there. That might be worth the snag. I mean, I don't know when he's going to play. 105 targets, huh? That was 2 years ago. His availability for 2025 remains in doubt. A swift return to peak performance seems unlikely. Yeah, most likely. So that's why we're going to take Keenan Allen here. Tried and true. The guy does his job. Went to Chicago on a deal that sent the Chargers the pick that ultimately they selected Ladd McConkey. He gets traded back to the Chargers. They are loaded up with weapons on offense. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, the burner. Very pass-friendly offense. Harbaugh there now. You know, he loves to run the ball. They'll probably work some play action in. Bateman, Pittman, and Davis off the board. Trevor Lawrence. That's a very early Lawrence pick, in my opinion. Quinshon Judkins still out there. Could be the starter in Cleveland. That's good value there. I'm going to cue him. Shador Sanders, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, Cam Ward, Nick Chubb, another guy who could end up being the starter. Kareem Hunt. I mean, the fact that Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt are still on the board blows my mind. So let's go over to wide receivers here because that's really where we need to grab some guys. No, I think we're going to go quarterback here. So we're talking about taking Tua. We're actually going to take him. A lot of upside with this team. A lot of upside. Best ball format, you're looking for those weeks where he throws for 500 yards and 6 tutties. That is one of the most pass-friendly offenses. Devon Achane was on track to catch over 100 balls out of the backfield in Miami last year with every game that Tua started. If you average it out, every game that Tua started was healthy. Devon Achane was healthy. They were on track to have 100 receptions. I love that. I have Achane. I have Tyreek Hill. I have Tua Tagovailoa. Keenan Allen also on that Week 12 bye week. Looks like we got a Week 5 bye week. That's pretty popular. And Week 8 that is pretty popular. So maybe we should mix in some more tight ends to fill this out. Jonnu Smith, Travis Kelce. Maybe we go for another wide receiver play. Who is here? I mean, a guy like Adam Thielen is probably the number 2 option out there in Carolina. He caught 50 balls last year for 600 yards. I don't hate that. I also Hollywood Brown. He could be the number 2 guy behind Kelce. With Rashee Rice sidelined, I think he could get some significant burn. We're going to take a shot on him if he's there. Christian Kirk off the board out of Houston. Rashid Shaheed, that's good value, I think, at 140th overall. Something to keep in mind, they re-signed Brandon Cooks. And kind of staying away from that offense. Don't know how I feel about the situation at quarterback in New Orleans. Quickly just going to check on this for an injury report. Not practicing. Yeah, then we're going to go Adam Thielen. And I'm fine with that. Adam Thielen built rapport already with Bryce Young in that Carolina offense. Deontay Johnson had a short stint in Carolina. I think that is a safe pick, more of a high floor pick rather than a high ceiling pick, but we can live with that. Definitely a lower ceiling on Thielen, but we can live with that. Maybe we'll grab another running back here that's in our queue, or maybe we'll snag Wan'Dale Robinson. Isaiah Likely. I mean, that's a guy for the tight ends left, led all tight ends last year that are left on the board. Let's see. Wan'Dale's definitely up there. I mean, the guy's caught almost 100 balls. Cedric Tillman off the board at receiver. Geno Smith, Cam Ward. So we still got 2 picks. I don't hate taking Wan'Dale Robinson here. He's gone undrafted in a lot of the drafts that I have done. I think he's a solid pickup. Tua, Goff. Should probably attack the quarterback position now that I'm really thinking about it. We're going to take Stafford. We have Devontae Adams. It makes sense to have Stafford. I'm not saying you need to stack every receiver with a quarterback that you draft, but I think it can't prove to be useful. Tyreek Hill's probably not going to have too many great days without Tua having a great day. Same goes for Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams. Just under 4,000 yards last year, low pass touchdown count, but I mean, he's the third quarterback on our team. Really can't complain. He's probably going to fill the voids where Goff or Tua might have a week off, play a little down, maybe a bad matchup. If Wan'Dale Robinson off the board at 157, Chubb off the board. Really deep into this draft now. I like Pierce still out there, huh? 800 yards last year. Ty Warren going to swallow up a lot of those opportunities most likely, although he is a tight end. Michael Penix off the board there. D-Hop still out there. Not in love with that pick. Tank Dell on the pup. This is a guy who you want to shoot for late in the draft, right? He's probably not playing this year. But these are the type of guys you want to look at, right? High ceiling players. You don't care when it's the last round and you want value. Kayshon Boutte, another guy, caught 40 balls last year, right? This is what we should be looking for. Gesicki, 65 balls last year. Led all people remaining. We might go Quentin Johnson here, in all honesty. He caught 8 tutties last year. He could have those weeks. He could have those weeks where he goes for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns on probably 5 catches, right? That's one of those full field touchdown guys, Quentin Johnson. You know, they get pinned in their own 5-yard line. Quentin Johnson on the outside, Ladd McConkey in the slot, Keenan Allen on the opposite side. Post go, right? McConkey over the middle. Send Johnson down the sideline. Throw up a ball. Take a shot, right? First down. Take a shot. Quick recap of our team. Jared Goff, Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, Travis Kelce, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Swift, Travis Etienne Jr., Darnell Mooney, Jonnu Smith, Keenan Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Adam Thielen, Matt Stafford, Quentin Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think of the draft. Is there anyone that I missed on? Is there anyone that I should have passed on? Drop a comment. Let me know if you liked the video, things that you'd like to see. I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace.